Hi, I'm just enjoying a beautiful day here in sunny Arizona and wanted to share with you some thoughts about how magical the universe can be. It seems like we often just kind of take things for granted, don't we? I mean, we get up, we do our routines, and our minds kind of convert it into the known, into what we've done before, what we've seen before, and we just stop looking at things, freshly. And sometimes, for me, it helps to remember the magic, the kinds of magical moments I've had in my life that have happened, sometimes just by happenstance, but often they've happened when I've actually asked for and invited some magic. Let me give you a couple of examples. The first one that happened, that comes to mind, was back in about 2004 or something like that. We had moved to Kauai for a while, and Richard's daughter, my husband's daughter, my stepdaughter Terry, was visiting us, and Terry is a very spontaneous and playful person in many ways, and so we were hiking up to the top of the big mountain there in Kauai. Ordinarily, if there wasn't any fog, you would have a magnificent view out to the ocean. On the day we went, there was a lot of fog. So we were walking along and talking about that, and she was wanting to see the ocean because she wasn't there for that long. And so I just said spontaneously, hey, there's 3 of us here. Why don't we just kind of go into our God space and see what we can make happen, if anything. So we just all kind of stood there for about, about a minute or so, just kind of going in quietly into that space of, what if I were God in my universe? Let it be. Let's have sun. So we all did that, and I don't know about them, but for me it felt real. It felt like I could really get into that space. It felt powerful. We opened our eyes, and lo and behold, the fog started to part. And right before us, we saw a little valley right down to the ocean. Beautiful. And we sat there and we admired it. And after a minute or two, some hikers went behind us on the trail, and they said, oh, look, here's a sunny spot. So it's like, in our reality, that's where it was. And so after maybe 5 or 10 minutes, the fog came back in, and the gap closed, and you couldn't see the ocean. And so this was the trickier part. I thought about, why don't we try it again? Then it's a little more scary, because you either find out you are more powerful than you thought you were, or you find out you're not so powerful. Either way, there's kind of things to contemplate there about what that means about reality. So we did it again. It was a little bit harder that time to completely go there, to dispel the doubts and so on, and just like let it be. Like, what if it was so? What if we really are that powerful? You could do it now. I do this sometimes. I just kind of go into my space and try to sense that energy, that ray, that presence of the divine that's there inside. It's a feeling like kind of being someone behind the scenes looking at all this, and it seems kind of like a joke in that state. So we did that again, and it opened up again. What can I say? It was pretty magical, and we were all impressed. Now, I've tried that a few times at other times, and it's not always so predictable, particularly if you're trying to control things and make stuff happen. Or maybe it just takes more people to do it. I don't know. I really don't. Could have been a coincidence. I don't know. Another such experience, which is harder to explain away by natural phenomena, but it could be, was in 2009. My mother, having just kind of agreed 6 months before that with her husband, my father, that it was time for them to go. And, you know, we've had a good life, we're ready to go. And that was pretty neat to give us some warning, and they went pretty quickly. Well, but before they went, I was having a conversation with my mother, who at that time had become a widow, just newly. And we were talking about what is life and death, and, you know, what comes for us afterwards. And she was just kind of on the verge of getting a diagnosis with cancer, and it looked like she might not be around too much longer. And, you know, it's just getting old. She's 85, and so I asked her, look, you know, after you pass, would you do me a favor? And if it's at all possible, to reach out from wherever you may be, if you survive death, and send me a message that you're alive, I'd really appreciate it. And she agreed, and she thought that was a good idea, and so she agreed to do it. And we didn't really specify like what that sign would be. I said something like, oh, maybe you could help my roses grow, or something like that, because she loved roses. But nothing was agreed upon. So about maybe a month after that, she passed away. And I was with her, you know, most of the time near the end. And just when I had slipped away to go to bed, that of course is when she passed. You know, and she was with a nurse at the hospice, you know, who read her some scripture and so forth. And they say that oftentimes it's difficult for a parent, especially maybe a mother, to pass away, to die when one of their children is in the room with them. Even though I had been giving her messages like, it's okay, you know, you can go now, and so on. Anyway, so after that happened, and, you know, we settled the estate and did a lot of things, and they had a particularly magical home that they had built about 40 years or so before that. They called it Coconino Castle. They pretended to be the king and queen of this castle, which had started out as kind of an octagonal, hogan-shaped adobe brick home up in near Flagstaff, Arizona. And they, over time, you know, as they built it, they decided to go 2 stories, and then they put some turrets on the top, and one thing led to the next, and they had like a kind of a tower next to it and flags, and it became like their castle. They called it Coconino Castle. So when we would visit them there, they would often take us at night up to the top of the tower where you could see the stars. And we would just sit there and watch the stars of a summer night, and that was enjoyable. So it was about August, as I recall, in probably 2010. We were there for the last time. We had just sold the place as part of the estate and had cleared out their possessions. We're spending our last night there. And so we decided to go up to the top, to the tower, one last time. So we sat out there. And while we were there, I just had a feeling, you know, a feeling of my mother's presence there. And I felt like she was maybe like young, like 20, you know, and smiling beatifically and like that. So I told Richard, my husband, and I said, however, you know, I want a sign. I want a sign. That's what I asked for. And he said, well, how about a meteorite? Meteor. Shooting star. I said, you know, that'd be great. But I kind of don't think my parents are up to that. So I had a sense my father was there too. And I said, but maybe God is. So 2 seconds later, I swear to God, 2 seconds later after I said that, this huge shooting star flashed across the sky. You know, it's, I think, the biggest one I'd ever seen up in that area. And it was just like right after that. And then we didn't see anything, you know, either before that or after that. And the neighbor told us the next day it had been quiet. He had not been seeing any shooting stars. And so we were impressed, needless to say. That was impressive. You know, how do you interpret that? Did Richard just sort of psychically foresee that was about to happen? Was it coincidence? Did it mean that God created it? Did it mean that we are God? All of the above? I swear, I don't know. I really don't. But it was a magical story, and I just thought I'd share it. And then there's just the daily magic that we take for granted, like this tree. You know, somehow it's growing. Somehow my body's functioning. Somehow I'm still alive. Somehow, you know, like overnight when we sleep, our bodies feel better. We wake up the next day feeling younger and refreshed. And there's just all these things that happen, most of which we have no clue how it really works. So I just wanted to offer that to you today, no matter what state of mind you might be in right now, or tonight if you're listening at night. And just remind myself that there's magic in this universe. And as Jesus said, where one or more are gathered in my name, you know, it's like miracles can happen. So why not expect something marvelous? Why not expect a miracle? Why not intend a miracle? Without being attached to it, just consider for a moment. Just take in a deep breath and consider for a moment what in your heart of hearts you'd love to see happen. What the God in you, the God in me, the God in us, in life, would love to see happen. Just let that sit with you. And ask for something really beautiful. Thanks for watching. And if you like these kind of videos, give it a thumbs up, a like, share, subscribe. And wishing you a magical day.